here I am, starting a new season of this crap later than planned, as usual. Yeah, so back to your regular scheduled programming. Insane Edit right here. Bruh. So I figured it's been a while since I talked about the mainline Super Mario games, so I picked one at random, so here's New Super Mario Bros. Wii. Yep, that's it. Okay, let's just get to the review. It's gonna be so damn short anyways. So after the success of New Super Mario Bros. On the Nintendo DS, Nintendo had to capitalize on that by making a new 2D Mario game on the Wii. Literally. The game's story begins in Peach's castle. Everyone is chilling as usual. The introduction of playable yellow and blue toads show up here. They are not only my goats, but they are also the lamest thing I've ever seen for a playable Mario character thus far in the entire series. But these levels aren't the worst levels I ever played, don't get me wrong. I just like to yawn throughout these levels, that's all. So to finish everything off, I'd like to talk about the side modes, but those are multiplayer exclusive, so guess what? Chicken butt. Please laugh. Hey, welcome to this video. I'm your host, the Outdated Gen Z. That was stupid, I'm sorry. But with that, I'm sorry for that long intro. Let's get this war started. So this is actually a very tough category for me, and I'm serious about this, because both Mario and Sonic's gameplay is so wildly different, and the fact I like these two styles of platformers, you can kinda see where I'm coming from, right? So the Mario gameplay, although very basic, is the perfect style of platforming. This is the game that practically revolutionized and perfected it. All you have to do is just go to the right side of the level and dodge some obstacles. You also have to hold a run button if you want to dodge certain obstacles like bottomless pits. And then you have to use that same run button to use the main big power-up, the fire flower in this case. And now if you deep dive a little bit, I guess I'm kind of complaining about the fact that you have to use the run button to use the power-up. So let's just go to the Sonic the Hedgehog gameplay. At first it's very similar in some ways and very different in other ways. Mostly for one because it's a platformer, but it requires you to go to the right side of the level and dodge some obstacles in some way. But in Sonic you don't have a run button, and the whole goal is to beat each level as fast as possible, except most levels in Sonic 1 doesn't take advantage of that at all. But to be honest, because this matchup has the original Super Mario Bros. Instead of a later game, I'll give the gameplay to Sonic the Hedgehog because the game was made in the 90s instead of the 80s, and it feels a lot more polished than Super Mario Brothers. But yeah, really great game. I would 100% what you call it? Recommend this to anyone. That took a while. I'm probably gonna have to edit that one out of all this unscripted stuff. And honestly, I can see the hype. This is actually a really good Animal Crossing game. Just for me personally, I like City Folk and Wild World a lot better. It's just my thing. It's basically just a predecessor to New Horizons as it became slowly more grindy to unlock more stuff for your town. And not that not like that's a bad thing, but it's just not really fully my thing, but I like it. It's just less grindy than New Horizons, which makes it good enough because your tools don't break, but it's still very grindy when it comes to the amount of bells you have to pay to get everything in here. But to finish it off, like the previous game collection update, I got some Scott the Woz fanboyness to confess about. Alright everyone, we found the location that we're going to be touching the grass. Right nearby these two trees. I think it's time. Definitely time. Look at that. Pure grass right here. Like, you can't get better than this. This is absolutely perfection right here. Like, beautiful grass right here. Alright. Here we go. I'm kind of scared. I haven't touched grass
ever in my entire life. No, that's kind of a joke. Alright, here we go. Look at that. Not green screened at all. This is real. Absolutely real. Alright. Well, with that, I'll see you in the next one, and the one after that.
Welcome to this video. I'm your host, the Outdated Gen Z. And before we actually start the review of Sonic 2 here, I edited a quick little previously on the Outdated Gen Z segment. I'm not bringing bad continuity in my videos, I just thought it would be kind of funny to just whip up. So with that, insane transition. Woo! But let's see what else we got in this series next. Let's see what we got in this series next! I promise I'll never do that again. Or not, I don't know. So Sonic the Hedgehog 2 was released on the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive depending on where you're chilling in 1992, and if you want to know the exact date, then here you go. In Japan, Sonic 2 was released on November 21st of 1992, and in both North America and Europe, Sonic 2 had a release date of November 24th of 1992, which I believe became Sonic 2's marketing stunt with it being released on a Tuesday. At least from what I can tell from the Wikipedia article. Only the finest research on this channel. So anyways, what's the in-game story here? Well, it's just about the same as Sonic 1, so I'll pull up a clip from one of my Sonic 1 videos. Dr. Robotnik captured all the animals, turned them into robots, and also took the Chaos Emeralds, and you gotta stop that. Yes, that's about it. The only thing new that happened story-wise in Sonic 2 is the fact there are now 7 Chaos Emeralds instead of 6, and I'll get to this during my gameplay rant, which so happens to be right now. The developers getting rid of the ground speed cap was a good choice, as you can get to, of course, go faster, but players are able to get into this kind of speed funk of sorts to get some crazy times in each level. Of course, I'm not good at video games, so I can't get these crazy times. I can certainly talk about video games though. Yup. I'm one of those guys, you know? Second major upgrade, or I guess I should just call it a new feature now, a new move. It's called the Spin Dash. When you stop and crouch and then mash the jump button, Sonic charges up speed, and once you let go, yippee! You go blasting through the stage and the enemies. Third new feature, you get a companion just following you around the entire game. Sonic 2 here was the second game to introduce Tails the Fox, miles per hour, whatever you want to call this cool little guy. So Tails being here amounts to nothing in this game. Sorry, pal. He can't fly in this game. He ruins everything in the special stages. Next zone here is Casino Night. Definitely one of the major highlights of this game for me. Because of these gambling sections, Luigi has changed me as a person.
Another great change that Sonic 2 made when compared to the first game is the level design and structure. Are you there tired of long, lengthy zones with 3 acts per zone? Well, our new game Sonic the Hedgehog 2 has cut down this 3-act structure to accommodate the consumer's lack of attention span. Now with 2 acts per zone, you'll be racing through brighter, bolder, and crazier zones than ever before. Speeding in at only $49.99, lock in today and buy Sonic the Hedgehog 2. Console sold separately.
So that's Sonic the Hedgehog 2, an amazing sequel to Sonic the Hedgehog. I know people are more into Sonic CD these days, but don't skip out on this one, man. If you like the fast part about Sonic because, you know, it's in his name, then this is the perfect 2D Sonic game for you. So many great zones in this game. I kind of wish that these were more well known to the Sonic fan masses, and all while a slapping soundtrack goes on in the background. Definitely at the top 5 Sonic OSTs for me. So yes, although Tails is really annoying in special stages, this is still one of the most incredible gaming sequels in my opinion. Well, I did it. An actual good review of Sonic 2. The movie then reveals there's a rival plumbing service called Scapelli. This explains why the Mario Brothers don't have that much work. Next we head to a construction site which has been taken by a university digging up some dino fossils. Cool stuff. This better have been a prediction for Animal Crossing. Gex versus Gex. Yo, Koopa's pulling too? The bros are now on the FBI's most wanted list because of Luigi taking Daisy's necklace. It's a piece of the meteorite Koopa needs to merge the dimensions together so he can take over 2 worlds at once. The bros get mugged, then the mugger gets mugged by Big Bertha. Yeah, that's the fish that eats you. Toad official live concert? I'd do it better, pal. Welcome to this video. I'm your host, the outdated Gen Z. And today, I'm gonna figure out if this tastes good. So I know I originally promised a whole-on review of Wii Sports Resort here. I just felt like doing something different instead. Plus I figured that it makes a lot more sense because Wii Sports Resort is a minigame collection just with sports. But for the people that I promised for a review on Twitter in the YouTube community posts tab, I'll give you a quick little history of Wii Sports Resort. It used this add-on for the Wii Remote called the Wii Motion Plus, and it just gave you more realistic motion controls, something that the original Wii Remote was promised to have. So now it just has a better gyroscope thing. Welcome to this video! I'm your host, the outdated Gen Z. Welcome to a video in a series I like to call What Reruns. This is an ongoing series where I re-review games. I already reviewed Sonic CD in the past, hence I said re-review. I only wanted to make this video because although that I found that Sonic CD video to be a masterpiece, I wanted this to be a more actual review compared to a huge little skit thing. So, let's just get it started. So Sonic CD was put out on the Sega CD or Mega CD depending on where you're chilling in 1993, and to be exact, Sonic CD was released on September 23rd in Japan, November 23rd in North America, and October in Europe. There's not an exact release date for Europe from what I can tell, but it's because I'm using Wikipedia. Anyways, you might be wondering what a Sega or Mega CD is. Well, basically it was an add-on for the Sega Genesis or Mega Drive, and it played games with a CD format. It lets developers, of course, have CD quality audio and way bigger games, but also have the ability to make shit videos and have some major upgrades visually in the games.
What happens when you put Sonic on a compact disc? This is what happens. Sonic fans are divided into 2 camps over this game. They either think it's the second coming to Jesus and no other Sonic game will ever live up to it, or they find it boring and confusing to play. If that's the side you're on, you're gay.
Welcome to this video. I'm your host, the outdated Gen Z, and happy holidays to everyone. Particularly a Merry Christmas for me.
Also, the music is not that bad either. Songs like Bridge Zone stand out to me, and surprisingly, my eardrums don't get mutilated by awful sounds like whatever the hell this is on the Mega Drive. For this video, I played the game through Sonic Origins, since I don't have a Game Gear, because why the hell would I? And it ran like shit! I don't know how they managed to replicate the frame dips, lag spikes, and dog shit hardware of the Game Gear in a new game. Like, bro, how? Anyway, please tell me if the game actually runs this bad on the original console, because I hope not.
Second here we got Gigalopolis, or I guess according to the Game Gear version, Gigapolis Zone. Welcome to this video! I'm your host, the outdated Gen Z! I don't know why I keep doing this. This is getting more cringe every time I do it. So, first up we got this Garfield calendar. This kind of ages the video when I was actually recording it, and I actually am posting this in 2026. This is still the 2025 calendar, so there you go. This is when I recorded my video, on the Saturday, the 27th of December. There you go. We got my Switch OLED right here, which has this little cover because I'm worried that it'll get liquids on it with it being on the desk. It's very fancy. I don't have a Switch 2 yet, but I'm still really happy that I got a Switch OLED model before the Switch 2 released. And sure, yeah, you can say that it was a waste of money, but overall, because the Switch 2 is still very iffy with Switch 1 backwards compatibility, like with Minecraft, for example, I just really am happy that I got a Switch 1 still. So it's really cool. And we got the Wii U gamepad right here. This is just where I store it. The Wii U is plugged into my TV still. And then, of course, because I'm a Scott the Woz fan, if you don't know, we got some copies of Madden 08 over here, particularly the Xbox, Xbox 360, GameCube, Wii, PS2, and PS3 versions. And I'm probably going to collect all of them just like he did. So, yeah. Starting off with the gameplay here, Mario and Sonic as a whole always had very different gameplay to each other, but because these are old handheld titles in their respective series, the gameplay is even more different than what it would usually be. For example, with Mario Land here, it just controls like shit now. Mario's momentum is all whack, his jump feels really floaty, and as well, if you're not jumping, you fall down like a rock. But just like every other Mario game that was out at the time, all being just a basic 2D platformer, it does function exactly how you want it to. So it's all very recognizable at the end of the day, even if there are a couple weird control issues. But now onto Sonic the Hedgehog on the Game Gear. It is very similar to the Genesis version, just a little bit slower to match the hardware it's on. Now the thing is, Sonic does actually control really well here, even though that he's, you know, slower. But I'd say the only reason he feels slow is because the level design is mostly based around platforming, just like the majority of zones in Sonic 1 on the Genesis. But even worse, because with this game, the only speed-oriented level is Green Hill Zone Act 1 instead of the entirety of Green Hill Zone. But yeah, it's just not the biggest complaint ever. Sonic controls really well compared to Mario does in Mario Land. Only honest weird thing is the fact that Chaos Emeralds are found around the stage instead of in special stages, and even weirder, there are special stages in this game, but they're just used to collect rings for points and also find continues hidden around it. It's just very weird. But yeah, I'm gonna be honest, I'm gonna give this category to Sonic 1 on the Game Gear. It just makes sense. Sonic controls well, the game functions well. I mean, Mario Land functions good as well, but it's just not as tight feeling as Sonic 1 on the Game Gear is. Now, of course, this kind of varies depending on how old you are. Let's say you're in high school, for example. All you have to do is just start collecting video games. I'm already there, so we're all good here. But if you're an adult and want to unattract women gaming style, this is when it gets a little bit tough. There is an actual niche for women that are a big fan of Nintendo games and PlayStation games. So the only way to turn them off is by becoming an Xbox guy. Now for the gameplay of Sonic's story here, oh my god. It's fucking incredible, man. Sonic has no business controlling this well in 3D, and for basically the first shot of Sonic in 3D, it's absolutely amazing, and the controls are tight as fuck. And especially being paired with Sonic's open level design here in this game, it's just so good. And the first time ever, unlike the Genesis games, Sonic actually moves the fastest compared to the other characters in this game, which just makes Sonic actually stand out more than getting a fucking insta-shield as a gameplay mechanic. At the end of Sky Chase 1, the tornado gets shot down, Sonic loses Tails, and then meets up with Amy. Amy has a fucking bird, cause why not? Yeah. But after beating the stage, we get the final boss for the story, the Egg Viper. I fucking hate this boss. The boss itself, you know what, it's actually pretty fun. You can easily memorize all the attack patterns, but the problem is the bullshit after when you beat the entire boss. After giving it its final hit, it then pulls some bullshit of exploding right on top of Sonic, so you can have one last bullshit death. And that's the entire problem I have with it. You'd think it would be fairly easy to dodge, but at least for me with my skill issues, this boss perfectly aligns with Sonic 9 times out of 10. Fuck this boss. Well, with that was Sonic Adventure, and like I said before, this was an incredible first true 3D Sonic game. Not only does Sonic control really well in this game, but also the other playstyles are pretty fun, to be honest. Even Big the Cat, to me, in my personal opinion, I think is still really fun to play. And you know what? I'm just gonna say it right now. I like Sonic Adventure 1 more than Adventure 2. Now, don't get me wrong, I still love Sonic Adventure 2, and I cannot wait to make a review about it in the future as well. But this game is just a little bit better, honestly. Like, for example, you can play as all of these stupid play styles separately if you really hate them that much. But, more importantly, I think the level design is a lot more interesting. There's a lot more going on. There's a lot more different paths you can take. And hell, this soundtrack is honestly better to me, in my opinion. This soundtrack is absolutely incredible. Now, I'm sure everyone's gonna hate me for saying shit like that, but you know what? Just let me and the other Sonic Adventure 1 fans, like, you know, chill out and eat a fucking sandwich sandwich without having to get yelled at saying that, oh, Sonic Adventure 2 is better because it has Shadow the Hedgehog in it. But that's it. I love Sonic Adventure 1. So Super Mario Land is a Mario game. No shit. If you have never played this before, you can expect a very recognizable experience. Now, for the levels themselves, they are designed well, but there are a few levels that are definitely kind of finicky with Mario's physics in this game. But these levels are never annoying at all. Plus, there's actually 2 shooter levels at the end of 2 of the worlds. One takes place in a submarine underwater, and another one takes place in a plane in the air. Because, you know, that's how submarines and planes work. But these are cool levels. I love them so much. It just adds to the charm of this game. It's just so random. And that was Super Mario Land. My overall opinion on it, I fucking love this game. It's a charming little piece of shit. But because this game was on the Game Boy itself, it isn't a piece of shit. Although the gameplay itself is super finicky, a lot of main state Mario stuff became all weird and out of whack, like once again the Super Ball flower being the replacement for the Fire Flower. And there's only 16 levels in total. And hell, the actual normal star theme isn't even in this game, even though there is a superstar power-up. But you know what? I think it's okay for this game to be very odd. Now, although this review is shorter than other reviews I had on this channel before, I hope you know that I think Super Mario Land is special. Alright, so just hopping in right away. The Japanese one, it's incredible. It captures the wacky workbench aesthetic perfectly, but I think the North American one does too. Just to mention this now, at one point the vocals almost sounds like it's laughing at you because of the bullshit level design Wacky Workbench has. And also, I think the North American version fits well in a real life factory. Wacky Workbench in Japanese only fits with the Wacky Workbench in Sonic CD, while I think the North American soundtrack both fits with Sonic CD, of course, but also with a real factory, as I said. But you can make the argument that the Japanese soundtrack fits well with a real factory as well. I don't think it really does, because the Japanese soundtrack I only associate with bouncy floors, and I don't think real factories tend to have bouncy floors. And sure, there is a slight little crack right here, I'm not sure if you can see that, but I did get this GameCube for $80, and that is not a bad deal. But next we got Grand Theft Auto 5. This was originally a game that I had before when the PS3 didn't work, and I was gonna, like, you know, find a game to test it out with. But turns out the disk drive didn't work. But now I did rebuy GTA 5. Pretty sure it's a Platinum Hits version, hence the red case. But it's nice to have a version of GTA 5, probably the worst version because it's on, you know, the generation before the game got really optimized. Can't wait for GTA 6 to have the same story. Anyways, Ultimate NES Remix is incredible. It's kind of a best of compilation of NES Remix 1 and 2 from Wii U. I love this 3DS game so much. I love NES Remix to death. I'm gonna be so honest, I got sick of that light being directly in my eyeballs, so now you don't get good lighting anymore. So the Japanese Stardust Speedway Bad Future is just iconic, let's all be honest, it's a banger. We all love it to death, and I can't lie, I love it too. The samples are just iconic. But it honestly kind of makes Metal Sonic seem like a joke, even though that the boss fight is very easy in Sonic CD, not gonna lie. But I want a more epic boss theme when I'm fighting Metal Sonic, so I think the North American soundtrack does a lot better of a job representing Metal Sonic. While I do think that the Japanese soundtrack fits very well for the Bad Future of Stardust Speedway. The North American soundtrack kinda does, not as much as the Japanese soundtrack, but because that the North American soundtrack practically carries the Metal Sonic boss fight, and hell, they even made a special remix of it in Sonic Generations as an unlockable that you can play during the Metal Sonic boss fight. So it proves that they think that it's a cool enough theme. And yeah, just the one shout I'm gonna give out to Sonic Forces, there was a remix of the North American Stardust Speedway used for the Metal Sonic boss fight in that game, so that's pretty awesome too. So yeah, the North American soundtrack wins this one, only because it mostly gets carried by Metal Sonic's boss fight feeling a lot more impactful and epic. Well, here we are in Quartz Quadrant Good Future. The Japanese soundtrack I've always been a pretty big fan of. It just sounds so romantic. It reminds me of my forever single life I'll have. But the North American soundtrack, it also isn't that bad either. I honestly find it really cool that it's just the same as the Bad Future, but in a different key. Although that I complained throughout this entire series so far that each of the Collision Chaos tracks in the North American soundtrack sound the same, and I don't like that apparently, minus the Good Future in this video. Just don't worry about it, okay? Let me have my fun. But I'm gonna give this one to the Japanese soundtrack easily. It just makes sense. Come on. Sonic Mania was originally revealed to the masses, and it looked absolutely incredible. Spoilers. The last mainline 2D Sonic game we had was... also known as Sonic the Hedgehog 4, and that wasn't really that good. You know? Sonic has good acceleration, he can actually roll down hills unlike Sonic 4. He also doesn't just stand on top of walls if you go to a dead stop unlike Sonic 4. It's basically the definition of what a 2D Sonic game should be. Next we got Hydrocity, Hydro City, Hydro Kitty, Hydro Cookie, whatever you want to call it. I don't care anymore. Easily my favorite water zone in the Sonic franchise. Came back to Sonic Mania. It's like a match made in heaven. This now makes it my true favorite water level in the Sonic franchise. Here in Act 1, the background elements actually are taken from Sonic 3's Act 2, and Act 2 here takes the Act 1 background from Sonic 3. I don't know why they wanted to swap it, but weirdly, I think it kind of fits a little bit better with the music. But our final level here, Titanic Monarch, another and the final original theme zone in Sonic Mania. This is easily the greatest final zone in a 2D Sonic game. It's still very tough and challenging, but it still takes everything that Sonic is all about. Sonic is about being fast, and this final level actually is fast-paced. Other final levels I've never really viewed as a really fast-paced kind of thing. Sometimes there could be a little bit of speed, but it's usually very platforming based. And hell, there is little level design references in this zone, referencing Scrap Brain Zone from Sonic 1, for example, but still feels really fast, and it's absolutely incredible. And I also love how the music actually samples the drums from the Quartz Quadrant Bad Future / Good Future from the North American soundtrack of Sonic CD. The Act 1 boss here is the stupid ass bullshit Death Egg Zone Act 1 boss from Sonic & Knuckles. I fucking hated this boss in Sonic & Knuckles, and I still fucking hate it now. I use the super form every time. I fucking hate this boss. Act 2, on the other hand, is of course where the final boss takes place. This final boss is pretty cool. I usually end up using my super form by the time I get to it, but overall, it's a really epic boss fight. But as well, you get teleported around to once again fight the hard-boiled heavies again. Then we get the true final boss. You can only get it if you get all 7 Chaos Emeralds. It's basically kind of a reference to the Doomsday Zone having a true final boss when you collect all the Chaos Emeralds, but I do think this is kind of a little bit lamer than the Doomsday Zone from Sonic & Knuckles. It's still cool, and the music is really awesome. Basically, you get to have one last fight with the Heavy King and Robotnik, and then Sonic gets transported away to Sonic Forces. Lame.
Wait a second. Is that the sound of Peak I'm hearing? Yep. Sonic Mania's soundtrack is absolutely phenomenal. Every track is amazing, and honestly, I don't even know how to explain it, but just... it's absolute cinema. They perfectly recreate the Genesis sound font in a way that feels amazing, unlike whatever the hell they tried to do with Sonic 4, but we don't even care about that anymore, really. Yeah, I suck at describing, so editor, put in a montage of some amazing bangers. Okay, I lucky could not be bothered to talk about the story again, so I'm literally just gonna copy and paste what I wrote in my own review. Yeah, very high quality content around here.
Sonic Mania is definitely one of the greatest 2D platformers of all time, in my personal opinion. It has beautiful sprite art, it has beautiful music, and it has absolutely incredible level design. And it's a 2D Sonic game that's fast. Unlike Sonic 4. Fuck you, Sonic 4. And with that, that was Sonic Mania. Sonic Mania, in my personal opinion, is the best Sonic game in the entire series. Like I said, I know that it's pretty controversial to say that, but it's my opinion. And you shouldn't really care about that. I also want to give a shout out to the N Knuckles mode, and you can literally put the N Knuckles mode while playing as Knuckles, so you can play as Knuckles and Knuckles together. That shit is so peak. And as well, the computers rubber band more. I can't believe I'm saying this is a good thing, but I feel like in some cases they definitely become super unfair and hard. This is kind of stuff from like Mario Kart 64. And as well, the stupid ass bullshit computers are able to use special abilities whenever they want. They can pull it out of their ass like the original Super Mario Kart. But overall, I still think Sonic Drift 2 is a lot better than Sonic Drift 1, so yippee.
Now, this game doesn't really have a typical story with cutscenes and stuff, but through the manual you can see the plot. So basically, Eggman is pissed that he sucks at beating Sonic, so he decides to create slow-down shoes made by harnessing Chaos Emerald energy. And after waking up from a nap, Sonic just puts them on. Why? The only way for him to get them off is to collect the emeralds hidden in Eggman's labyrinth base. And yeah, that's pretty much it. Still got no clue why Sonic is that dumb, but sure.
And I'm not gonna lie, Puyo Puyo has always been my favorite puzzle game, so I will forever love this game to death. Dr. Robotnik's Mean Beam Machine on the Sega Game Gear is officially my favorite Sonic Game Gear game, even though it's not even a Sonic game on a technicality. But with that, that's it.